Hello and welcome back to the Level Cap Podcast, your podcast for things Level 99 games related or kinda otherwise, depending on your definition. I am your host, Marco De Santos, and with me is Brad Talton Jr., president of Level 99 Games.
Back again.
Back again. Guess who's back? Hey everyone!
Spoiler alert, I'll always be here.
Oh yeah, I mean I always kind of introduce you like you're this special guest, but you're literally just a
guest, but yeah, I'm the other host.
Yeah, you're just a mainstay host, and it's like
I think I need to introduce myself, otherwise it doesn't. Well, we'll talk about that in the future, though.
Yeah, I mean, okay, sure. Like we can fix that like at some point post or something like that.
I'm also pretty bad at introducing myself. I'd be like, you'd be like, I'm Marco De Santos, the mechanic critic host of the show, and I'd be like, hey, I'm Brad. And so maybe it's best if you keep it up.
Maybe it's like straight man, funny man. It's like
maybe.
You can be straight man, I can be funny man. Right? It would work. So we're gonna have a very, very exciting docket for all of you. And if you guys haven't listened to this show, we're gonna be doing some very interesting things. Brad and I are gonna catch up a little bit, talk about some games we've been playing, of course, talk about a very wonderful character of the week that's all coming at you guys this week. And of course, we're going to answer some of the questions the community has posed for us, again, from our social media links, Reddit, Board Game Geek, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, so on and so forth. And of course,
if you're reading this on our blog, you can do your questions in our comments section as well.
Oh yeah, that too. There is a comment section on the blog. So if you guys are listening there, don't hesitate to post comments. And of course, we're gonna, give you guys some news or some exciting news or some, updates on some Level 99 games stuff. But before we get into all of that, let's do a little bit of catch up. So how are you, Brad? How are you this fine evening, my time?
I am doing very well, and it's only 8:45 in the morning over here. It's in sunny Albuquerque, but we're getting ready to tackle the day, get some work done, and it's always good to start off with a podcast. Things are going well, and yeah, glad to hear it's going well for you as well.
Yeah, it's currently like 11:46 p.m. Here in Nightshade, Philippines, and I guess
Don't try too hard for parallelism.
Oh, okay.
Never works out.
All right. Don't try too hard, I guess. It's like you gotta be more natural with it. All right. It's been my day's been okay. I mean, like I had school and all that stuff, so it's like I'm tired. If you live in the Philippines, commuting is horrible. I spend basically I wake up every day of my school life at like 6 a.m. in the morning, and then I basically walk a kilometer or two, so it's like probably half a mile or something to school, and it's horrible, and I hate it, but I have to do it.
Why don't you get a bike?
Because it's harder to bike. It's really hard because none of the roads are straight. They're all like crag.
I mean, I biked when I lived in Japan, and my school was at the top of a hill, but it was still faster than walking. You only have to do it for a few weeks before it gets easy.
Oh, really? Yeah. If only it was like less about uphill, downhill, and more. And if it was like that, because the problem isn't really that. It's literally just the roads have holes. They're cracked. Yeah, it's not really a viable option. And besides, I think I forgot how to ride a bike. Contrary to what they say, you do forget how to ride a bike.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, we do have some exciting events going on. We've got our art contest is just about to finish up. By the time this podcast airs, it will have been over for 2 weeks, and we will have done the showcase already. So, but we got some cool entries at this point.
Yeah.
And, we're really looking forward to showing them off.
Yeah, by the way, I think a lot of listeners were telling us that we should probably tell them when we're recording this so that they kind of have a context of why we're talking about stuff that may or may not be out by the time the podcast is out.
Yeah, we need to put a recorded on date in our show notes.
Yeah, or something like that. But yeah, we're going to tell you guys it's like the 25th of January or something like that.
Yep.
Just
so
today
you guys... is January 25th, 2017.
So you guys have some context. So anyway, let's talk about the games we've been playing recently. Recently I've gotten into a very interesting game called Flamberge. Flamberge. I can't pronounce it. It's
Flamberge,
yeah. It's pronounced. It's spelled
like
FLA.
the sword, right?
Yeah. Like this. It's Flamberge.
I'm pretty sure it's Flamberge.
I have lost my
I don't
mind.
know. It's you know.
I've lost my. This is like that time when I found out Demetrus was actually pronounced Demetrus. I lost my mind.
It's important not to be too particular about pronunciation,
That's true. That's true.
as long as your point gets across.
But that's what everybody's watching, listening to this podcast for, right? Pronunciations. Anyway, it's
I
this very
suppose.
it's this very interesting strategy game. If you've ever played Frozen Synapse or like
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
it's basically Frozen Synapse.
So it's kind of that stop action strategy tactics.
Yeah, wherein like you simultaneously control your entire squad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's that, but it's with the Dungeons and Dragons esque fantasy skin on top. So you like have
Okay.
wizards and archers and fighters. It's
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, it's interesting because you because the thing about Frozen Synapse was that all of your guys were the same, right? I mean,
Mhm.
like even if they were slightly different, they were all dudes with guns. But so it's here. It's very interesting because like there's a rogue character, there's a fighter character, and there's this archer, and they all do like specific moves and stuff. So it's like they all have their different movement speeds and attack patterns and all that. It's amazing. I mean, like it's in early access.
Hmm.
I'm a sucker. I buy early access games. But yeah, I mean, like it's a fun game. I've played through like a few levels. It's amazing. It feels amazing every time. I pull off a plan and it looks great. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you should probably
Cool.
check it out if you're into stuff like Frozen Synapse or other strategy games.
I didn't get too deep into Frozen Synapse the first time, but I did play a little bit. For me, I've actually been playing DMC Definitive Edition. I went out and got a bunch of action adventure games in order to study up for Seventh Cross, and so
Yes.
DMC is the first one that I'm playing through. I'm enjoying that quite a bit. The gameplay is pretty good. The action combat is pretty cool. Like Devil May Cry, not too heavy on the story.
Oh yeah,
You go through it,
definitely.
you hack and slash, you know. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to doing some of the other ones that I picked up. I got Darksiders 2. I got God of War collection. And I've already finished Bayonetta, but I also I borrowed Bayonetta 2 again from my friends, so I can play through that a little more. Just to kind of get an idea of like different weapon styles and different action adventure motifs and how I'm going to incorporate those into the final game. And we also finished our Seafall campaign.
Oh, how was it?
It we kind of got stuck. I'm embarrassed to say it, but we opened the fifth box and we played like 3 games and we couldn't figure out how to get to the sixth box. And so we kind of gave up.
Oh no.
And we went online and read the spoilers. And then when we figured out how to do it, we realized that even knowing how to do it, it was going to take us 3 more games.
Oh
And
man.
so we were like, well, let's just open the box and see. And it was pretty cool what was in box 6, but I think it should have been unlocked about 3 games earlier.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
that makes sense.
Yeah, there's a specific bug in the game, and I can talk about it without giving too much away here, but there's a specific action you have to do in game to learn the rules to access the end game. And if you don't do that action,
It never happens.
yeah, then you don't learn the rules to finish the game, which means that the game could potentially never finish, especially because the rules that you need to learn on the rules that you need to learn are from doing an action that is not very optimal. So
Oh,
if
come
you are
on.
yeah, and it's an action that will randomly come up in based on the game conditions. You'll randomly be able to do it, and when you can do it, it's not very optimal. And so
Oh.
it's kind of rare that you'll ever actually learn the secret of box 5 or the secret of box 6, which is kind of a shame because when we opened it up, it was really cool. I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but I would recommend just going online and reading the spoilers once you open box 5 about how to open box 6, and not do
suffer.
the yeah, just like let people do the that action. Just read paragraph 27 as soon as you open box 5. And if you're listening to this in Default, just read paragraph 27 as soon as you open box 5 and your game will go a lot smoother.
All right.
Um,
I'm really glad that you kind of informed the audience about that. So anybody playing a Seafall campaign, and if you're in box 5, what paragraph was that? 27?
I think it's 27, and it's the one that lets you look at the front and the back of the cards. And there's a second one that's really useful to look at, and it's the one that lets you look at the Tombs map. And if you just open box 5 and I say read the paragraph that lets you look at the Tombs map, which is like 35 or 32, and then read the paragraph that lets you look at the back of the cards, which is 27, and look in the book and read those two, and your game will go a lot smoother.
See, wow. See, this podcast has suddenly turned into like guides for games that aren't even level 99. See, I told you otherwise would work.
Okay. Well, anyway,
Anyway.
hopefully that improves somebody's Seafall game experience, and you guys get to experience box 6 like we didn't get to. But it did look pretty cool.
You know what else is pretty cool? Our character of the week. Hey, how's that for a segue?
That was pretty sharp.
Yeah.
That was a bumpy segue ride. But yeah, today's character of the week is Khadath. So
How do you pronounce his last name?
introduce us to Khadath.
How do you pronounce his last name?
I pronounce it Ahamusi.
Okay, I pronounce it Ahemuse. So
Okay, let's go with Say. I like Say better anyway.
Oh, really?
Ahamuse.
Yeah. Okay. So Khadath. I don't know a lot about the Khadath design background. I mean, like I know that he works for the Planestalkers, this like organization that is essentially Power Rangers Space Patrol Delta, right? They go through these various.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Right. They
Yeah,
go.
pretty much. That's a pretty accurate description of the Planestalkers. Yeah, they're like this kind of like world police spy network, fighting aliens type of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, they're the Men
but
in
yeah,
Black too, I guess.
yeah, they're also kind of the Men in Black. But that's not like too important to Kadath's story. Like tangentially, he's a member of Planestalkers, but most of his story is actually tied up in his home country.
Yeah.
And so he is the prince of Ahamisi, this swampland in Relicor, kind of on the border of the Relicor and the central nation Jeffries. And there's this swampland, and the where the elves live, and he's the prince of this land. And one of the goddesses, Tamaris, the earth goddess, has cursed that land, so it's dying out, and the people there are dying out. And so Khadath decides that he is going to go on this adventure to figure out a way to save his people, to kind of bring them beyond the reach of this god. And he decides that the best way to do that is to take them to a new world or a new place or somewhere. The only places that the gods can't reach are off-world.
A whole new
And
world.
so, yeah, and so that's why he goes into the planar studies at Argent and eventually joins the Planestalkers, because he is looking for the technology to basically build his own world. And so there's some sort of like, video game final boss here where like I'll create my own perfect world. In his mind, but it's for him it's benevolent, and he wants to do that for his people so that they can survive.
Rexham thought that too until he got killed.
Yeah. Well, Rexon decided to carve it out of the north when he wanted to build his empire. But I mean, Rexon's a good character for another time, another Indians in depth. But
I can't wait for that.
But yeah, we so a lot of the characters in Indians were based on like a role playing game that I worked on way back in college, and actually the Argent role playing game, and we were all students at Argent. And Khadath was a player character, created by my friend Kevin, and it was funny. He was talking with one of his friends, and his friend went off to to board game night, and his friend came back, and he's like, oh yeah, I played this really cool game. It's called BattleCon, and Kevin was like, oh, did you play a character named Khadath? And his friend was like, oh, that's why your handle is Khadath, and because you play this game too. And Kevin is like, well, actually,
Oh wow, that's freaking awesome.
yeah. And yeah, if you find him on, well, I won't say his handle on the on the air, but if you see somebody with Khadath in their name, it may be Kevin, the original creator of that character. So keep a lookout if you're ever on Steam and see him.
Oh,
But yeah,
that's oh my
it's
god.
it's a pretty cool storyline, pretty cool character, and we have some secrets and surprises coming up for Khadath
Oh really?
in the
Wow.
next segment of the yeah of the story whenever we get into block 3 of BattleCon, which will be after Wanderers.
He gets bossified. Is that what happens?
No, he doesn't pull a Magdalena on
It,
us.
it doesn't. Is that not a verb? Pulling a Magdalena is not a verb.
Magdalena, where you upgrade to boss mode in the second game.
Yeah.
Um, maybe that should be a thing. I
Yeah.
need to make it a bosses expansion. I have a question for you guys listening. Would you like to see a small box expansion like Armory or Light and Shadow, but it's just, 10 different cooperative bosses? Like, is that a thing that people would be interested in?
I think
I
I
don't know.
would be. Yeah, I think I'd be hyped for that. I mean, like, I haven't really played a lot of boss mode, but it's like I would like to see cool new bosses.
We did the 4 bosses of Devastation, and they were pretty fun and they were pretty well received, but I don't know that a lot of people play them. And so it could be cool to make, BattleCon a 1v many type of game with a small expansion. Um,
Mm,
so anyway, something I've been thinking about, and I'd love your input on if you're listening
yeah,
to the show and want
that
to
would
leave
be
a comment.
awesome. It'd be good preparation for Seventh Cross, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of Seventh Cross, we did a good test yesterday. We got a lot. We got some really good data. This was my first test with the action adventure combat that I picked up after playing Devil May Cry and adapted into the game. And it worked out. It worked out pretty decently. There's still a few things that are clunky, but I kind of see the path forward, and that's very exciting. So I'm looking forward to building more onto that in
Okay,
the
that's
coming
awesome.
weeks.
Wait. So let's backtrack a bit towards Khadath again, or Khadath. When your friend Kevin played Khadath, did he have the wormhole? Like, what part of Kevin's character translated into the mechanics for Khadath? What inspired you to design Khadath in this way, with the gate trap?
Well, a lot of the look, he was always like a planar science character. So he was always about like wormholes and portals and such. He was always a very crafty sort of character, like 3 steps ahead, sort of fighter. And so I felt like giving him a tactical tool that would combine the planar science magic with his kind of crafty nature would be ideal. And also, the original character had that concept of I want to create my own universe, and he had already started building that. And so if you look at Kadath, he actually has this earring that's a key, and that key is kind of the device that he uses to power his pocket dimension, um, and that he keeps on him all the time. The portal that the trap that he creates is actually created from his own like pocket world, his rudimentary one that's still kind of basic at this stage. But that's like the
Ah,
early. This is like the early prototype of the thing that he's trying to build.
okay. So his wormholes or his gate traps are like science based. Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah. In Indians, all like planar magic is a science discipline, and it's done with math, and not with like the arcane powers.
Oh, okay. That's
It's more about like creating these giant formulas, and then when you push magic through the formula, it alters reality. So the magic is in the calculation, not in the concept.
Man, we need to make an entire podcast about like Indians magic. Like, we need to spend an entire
If
episode of
you
this
yeah, if you want
podcast.
to spend one, I can tell you about the different disciplines and stuff. I
Yeah,
mean,
that'll be
there
hype.
was going to be a whole RPG on this thing, and so I've got all of that written out.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we need to say that for another time. But for now, Brad, if you had any suggestions for people to play Khadath. Like the suggestions you gave me back when I sucked with him, like years and years ago. I remember sending you an email asking how to use this character. So, would you care to disseminate that information with all of our listeners right now?
Yeah, sure. So Khadath plays best wherever your opponent plays worst. He has a bunch of long range and mid range attacks. He's got a bunch of dodges. He's got really good melee game, and the ability to use your trap both offensively and defensively, either offensively to pin an opponent at range that you like, or defensively to keep them out of a range you don't like, allows you to set up a board position which can be really hard to break. And so your goal in the first few turns of the game is not necessarily to land hits, but to get your platform set up so that you have basically free shots at your opponent where they can't retaliate. And then once you take a few free shots, then they'll probably get in, and your goal will be to escape from them, set up another lock, and then repeat that process. So you're really looking for ways to set up the board position optimally and then cash in. Any hits you get while you're setting up are kind of just gravy on top of the on top of your steak. The real meat and potatoes of Khadath is getting to the board state where you can't be stopped anymore.
Yeah.
In that sense, he's a lot like Caitlyn, but a much more brawlery version of Caitlyn. So yeah, I think that's probably that's the best advice I have for Khadath. Do you have anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, I think one thing I really need to emphasize when you're playing Khadath is that, he kind of has the trappings of what looks like a trickster, tricksy kind of character, but he's not. As Brad has said, he's kind of like a super brawly version of Caitlyn. And I think one thing I want to emphasize here is that Khadath, despite his cards having little to no priority, is one of the faster characters in this game. Because of the fact that this gate trap actually reduces opponent's priority, which is effectively a priority plus for you. So don't hesitate to absolutely beat down on some people who can't get out of your gate trap, because some people will just sit on it to prevent the tricks you can do with limiting their movement. But if they sit on it, it's gonna be horrible for them because you're gonna outspeed them almost every single turn.
Yeah, and with enough mobility, Khadath can usually get out of their attacks if they're on the trap.
Yep.
So,
and that pretty much does it for our character of the week. I hope you guys learned some very interesting stuff about this character, Khadath. I honestly didn't know about your friend having a PC that you based this character on. It's amazing.
Well, I don't know if I probably should mention it now because Hikaru was also my other friend's PC, Steven. And so Hikaru and Khadath were the original Indians characters. The original crew.
Man. Wait, this means you had a PC too, or were you the GM?
No, I was the GM. So I had a bunch of NPCs, and those are like Kalistar and Rokyuk and those characters. Those were my NPCs.
We need to talk about this.
Hikaru and Khadath are the originals.
Oh my goodness, we need to talk about this sometime. I'm so excited. But that does it for our character of the
We
week.
need to release an RPG so you can play your own adventures.
Oh my gosh, I want it. So that pretty much does it for this character of the week. I hope you guys learned something new and interesting. Of course, if you guys want to have a specific character be the character of the week, do tell us on social media. Again, we'll have the links for you available somewhere very convenient. And if you're watching this on YouTube, it's literally in front of your face because it's on the video. So let's move on to some 99 questions, which aren't 99 questions, because
we'll get up to 15 this week.
Yeah, 15. Amazing. We're almost at 99 questions. Just like, a few more episodes of this podcast. By the way, as of this podcast, we are on par, or at least, no, I think we're more than the longest running Level 99 Games podcast. So,
yeah, when this one debuts, this will have been the longest running Level 99 Games podcast.
Congratulations to us.
Of the two that I think we've done.
Congratulations to us. Clap, clap, clap. I'd golf clap, but it would wreck the mic. My pop filter's not that good. Anyway, let's ask some questions that the community has asked us. And when I say us, I mean Brad. Here's one. So some people have gripes with picking up an entire box of characters. Will there ever be an approach to selling characters like boosters, much like you do with Exceed?
For BattleCon,
For
you
BattleCon
mean?
specifically. Yeah, this question was for BattleCon. Sorry about that.
I think that the thing about it is that a BattleCon character is not a whole lot of cards, and so when you do that, you have to think about what the distribution model for that is, how you're going to package it. You could offer a single character as a booster pack, but if we did, we'd have to charge like $5 or $6 for it. And with a game like Fate, we do 10 characters plus all the stuff, plus the board, plus the rulebook, and you get all that for $30. And so to say you could have 10 characters for $30, or you could have one character for 5 or 6, you know,
It's not.
that's
Yeah.
it's a big jump. But that's kind of what you'd have to do to make it work that way. So I think for an economy standpoint, we didn't really want to do that. No, with Exceed, a character comes with their own deck, of 30 cards. And so it was a little easier to justify making it a standalone product because you're getting, this whole deck of cards. Um, and they have their own design templates and everything, and so they tend to look pretty cool. But yeah, I mean that I'm not going to rule it out, but I don't think it's the model for BattleCon.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think once you reach a certain point in a game's life, you're kind of you either pull a like Magic the Gathering 5th edition and you kind of reinvent the entire game, or you stick with the way that the game has been distributed classically. And I don't think we're ready to do something that gigantic with BattleCon at this point. So I think that we're going to keep to the main boxes, but we will continue to do singleton characters for Exceed. We found that the little mini packs for Pixel Tactics did okay, but they weren't as well liked as the small boxes. So we're probably going to stick with the box size games for Pixel Tactics in the
And
future.
that's fair. I think that's fair.
But I do have some ideas for a like month by month character of the month type game that I might announce sometime later this year. So keep your eyes and
Ooh.
ears peeled for that. But we might have that sort of a product coming out sometime soon.
Yeah, that's just us dangling meat in front of your face to listen to the next podcast.
Invisible meat in front of your face. No details, no nothing. There's a game with a character every month that I'm working on the concept for.
Yes, let's keep it as vague as possible. How about this question? So this is why I said that this would be very much interesting. It's very fun because you told us about Khadath's story. So some people are interested in how you come up with the characters, or what do you draw inspiration from. So I guess you kind of answered that earlier with your RPG with your friends.
Yeah, to some extent. I mean, I think that with BattleCon, I've done a lot of the inspiration with some comes from the mechanics, some comes from the lore, some comes from whatever the story arc is currently. I mean, it comes in a lot of directions, and I don't think that there's any one specific approach. Sometimes you're inspired by a character or a show that you've seen, and you want to kind of capture the feel of that in your own project. And so you co-opt things, but I mean everything comes from other places, and so you're sort of it's sort of all the things that you experience in a day kind of settle and congeal and come to life as a new character.
Okay.
That's a lot of the process. So I wouldn't say there's any specific design pattern to the BattleCon characters. I just make whatever seems cool at the moment.
I mean,
It's a good way to live. I don't know if it's a good way to design games, but it's what I do.
I mean, it's worked out so far, so I guess that's your answer, listeners. And finally, for this last 99 question, we have: will there ever be plans to make an actual 2D fighting game set in the world of Indians?
I do not want to comment on that at this time.
Oh, we all know what that means.
It means that no comments were made at this time.
Oh yeah, okay, sure. That's your answer, listeners.
Don't read too much into anything. I'm going to keep my options open.
All right. And that pretty much does it for our 99 questions. Guys, please send us more questions on our social medias. The links will be available for you guys everywhere, as easy as we can make it available for you. And of course, we will answer them. I've posted some stuff on Reddit and Board Game Geek as well, so if you guys want to find an avenue to send us the questions, those are also available avenues. Okay, and we'll move on to our last segment, News 99, where you guys will get to hear some very interesting announcements from Level 99 Games. Well, specifically from Brad. Brad, do you have any interesting news for our listeners right now?
Yeah, so Millennium Blades has made port in Europe. We are currently unloading and handling customs in Europe. Should be arriving in the USA tomorrow. Of course, by the time that this episode goes out, this won't be news anymore. You'll probably all have your copies, so maybe I'm wasting my time on this on this entire segment. But if you haven't played it yet, Millennium Blades, it should be in stores now.
Oh, yes. I highly recommend
I forgot
this
about our
game.
time buffer when I started doing this. Aside from that, Seventh Cross looking great. We're looking forward to announcing that pretty soon. Or to announcing the Exceed Seventh Cross season pretty soon. Art's coming along. And we are sending off Sellswords Olympus to press very soon. So if you're a fan of the original Sellswords, you'll be able to play the Greek-themed version, which has polished-up graphics, rules, and a brand new set of 50 characters for you to enjoy.
Oh, man, I haven't played Sellswords. I should. It seems like a really cool, light game.
Well, if you win our art contest next week, you will get a voucher for $20, which is exactly the price of Sellswords.
Oh, okay. So if you guys are listening to this podcast, that art contest is probably done or something along those lines. But we will have contests nearly every month. So you guys watch out for those. And of course, you'll get some really awesome prizes and stuff, right?
Yeah, what's the this should air at the end of February. So what's our contest for March, can you say?
Our contest for March.
If you haven't worked out the rules at this point, then it's fine. But
yeah, I don't think I have the rules worked out for it, but I remember it's something along the lines of like an alternate unique ability design.
So it's
contest?
a mechanics design contest.
Yeah, I think it's a mechanics design contest.
Okay, well, check our news and updates blog, and that's at level99games.com. And visit our blog and check that out, and you can see what ongoing contests we have and what the prizes are and how you can enter. They're all really easy to enter, and if you're familiar with our games, you should have no problem designing things. We always encourage fans to make up their own stuff and extend the games to their own content, and that's been one of the most fun parts of being part of the BattleCon community for the past 7 years, is designing all of the, seeing what other kind of cool stuff people design. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with for the alternate mechanics contest.
Yeah, alternate mechanics or character creation even. I think we're going to have a character creation contest at some point.
Excellent. Well, those will go up, and check out our newsletter and you'll see about those too.
All right. So that pretty much does it for this Level Cap podcast. I hope you guys really enjoyed the show, found out some interesting news for Level 99 games, and just listen to two dudes talk it out about some board games and stuff. Of course, I have been your host, Marco De Santos, also known as the Mechanic Critic, and with me is the president of Level 99 Games, Brad Talton Jr.
See y'all next week.
See y'all next week, and thank you very, very much for listening. Bye.